Hello, I'm John Felt. Welcome to the NCGA-FMC Agricultural Weather Outlook for January 19th, 2014. You know, if you're new to the Ag Outlook, I provide a lot of information. Generally speaking, the video briefing is for the short term, and then I provide on Thursday a longer term outlook in more detail. But I do cover the outlook a bit longer range in this video briefing as well. Now, what I'm talking about here, even though it's a short term, I'm always focused on agriculture, so I'll be really providing information over the next couple months as to spring planting conditions. So let's start off today's briefing. Here's the temperature pattern, and I'm telling you, we've got some unusual weather, not just the next week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but this winter with unusually cold temperatures over a large part of the Corn Belt. The areas in blue and purple are the colder temperatures at the current time, and I'm watching this pocket of cold air up here, and I think that's going to sink south. That area of red there is going to sink south. But before I get into that, let's look at the last 7 days observed precipitation. One of the things I've noticed so far this winter is that we've had these persistent patterns. We've had this snow band here, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Northern Illinois, Michigan. That's really been a prevailing pattern of snow right in here. And that's because we've had this repeated pushes of northwest winds that's enhanced the lake effect snows as well. Further south, it's been quite a bit lighter over parts of the middle part of the Midwest. So last week, let's go back to this. This is precipitation, observed precipitation in liquid form over the last week. So generally speaking, it was confined once again to the upper Midwest and Great Lakes. If we look at percent of normal, we see this areas of blue and purple are above normal rainfall or snow in this case, and areas of yellow is near normal, red is below normal. So you can see the upper Corn Belt experienced above normal precipitation, the middle part of the Corn Belt and lower part normal to a little bit below normal. Now let's step back and look at the past 30 days, because what I want to look at are these trends that developed early in the winter continuing. Once again, blue is above normal, blue and green above normal, yellow normal, red is below normal. And this is the percent of normal. Blue is showing that the upper Midwest is experiencing above normal precipitation over the last 30 days. But then other than that, it's really sort of mixed here. We see the eastern U.S. Corn Belt above normal precipitation, but a large part here, this is the area that really could use a bit more precipitation. And I'm going to be looking at soil moisture outlooks very soon. I'd like to see more precipitation in those regions. So temperatures over the last week, this was the last 7 days. Green is below normal, but blue and purple are unusually below normal, and again centered over the upper Midwest. It's been a brutal winter so far, and I wish I had better news, and I'm going to give you a hint. I really don't. But over the U.S. Corn Belt, with the exception of the eastern part of the Corn Belt, over the last week, a little bit milder than normal. Every place else was either a bit below normal to well below normal. Now, there was some snow last week. This area in blue here was 8 inches to 10 inches, and keep on talking about prevailing precipitation pattern right along that side. Heaviest snow on the lee side of the lakes with these northwest winds. Some light snow over the other sections of the mid-U.S., including parts of Iowa, Illinois. But that was fairly light, just 0 to 2 inches. Matter of fact, if we look at where we have snow on the ground, you can see here that Missouri has very little or no snow. Southern Illinois, only a light amount of snow. Indiana, very light, until you get into the northern sections. Then it increases very quickly from just anywhere from a trace to an inch up to 3, 4, 5 inches or more in a short period of time. So look at this, maybe 0 inches here, just a trace, up to very heavy snow in Wisconsin. And I will be covering the snow water equivalent as we get a little bit later into the winter, probably starting in February. I'll be talking about the water equivalent of that snow as well. Okay, now here are the current steering winds, and if you're new here, I look at a little bit more in depth in the weather than you're going to get in the TV news perhaps. But the pockets of energy are these areas of yellow and red. These are pockets of energy in the upper flow. So I'm going to be looking at these pockets of energy to be looking at some patterns of precipitation. And currently we do have some in this upper flow moving into that upper Midwest here, but elsewhere it looks pretty quiet. And if we look at the middle part of the week, this is on Thursday, we see that we have some upper energy that sort of moved across the upper Midwest. Elsewhere, it looks pretty quiet. So it looks like it's going to be overall, as far as precipitation, a fairly quiet week. So here's the precipitation forecast, liquid equivalent, next 7 days. And keep in mind that Iowa and the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, that's all in the form of snow. So there will be some snow, but it's not necessarily a heavy snow. It's a lighter snow. The exception will be on the lee side of the lakes, which we've seen now for a long time, very heavy snow in that region, 1 inch of liquid equivalent. So that's over a foot of snow in those regions. Elsewhere, it looks fairly more of a modest snow. And here are the accumulations over the next week. And it looks like maybe an inch or two over this core part of the U.S. Corn Belt as colder air feeds in. Here are these pockets of lee side, heavier snow. That's blue. But I don't really see any blue from Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, or Illinois, Indiana, and Iowa, Missouri. Generally just light amount of snow in those regions. Now the hazards outlook, and each week I look at the hazards, and we're going to get to some point, we're going to be talking about severe weather, thunderstorms and such, but right now it's definitely a temperature hazard. And it looks like, you've probably heard me talk about that polar vortex. It's been wobbling and occasionally wobbling and sinking south, and it looks like it's going to do that again. Probably not quite as bad as the last time, the record setting, but it's still going to be unusually cold. And it looks like it's going to be cold this week. It's going to be quite cold, but it looks like even colder as we get into the latter part of January into February. Now, if we look at precipitation through the end of the month, I wanted to show you, generally speaking, that this is an area I really wish we could get a little bit more precipitation, even in the form of snow, because we really need some more recharge into Iowa, parts of Kansas, Nebraska, and Missouri, even parts of southern Illinois. Unfortunately, it looks like this area is going to stay quite dry through the rest of January. And really the only significant snow band as far as the Corn Belt goes is going to be right in this region here that has been getting some significant winter precipitation. Eastern Corn Belt's in pretty good shape. Some recent and past precipitation, and it looks like some modest precipitation in the form of snow this week as well. Okay, now lots of images here, lots of colors, but let me go through them with you. This is where I look for trends one way or the other. This is the climate models, and these are the weeks: first week, second week, third week, and fourth week. So I'm going out 4 weeks. So keep in mind, when I look out 4 weeks, these things can change very drastically, but I'm looking at the general trends. Temperatures. Greens are below normal temperatures to a degree, modestly, and then blues are the unusually cold temperatures. So week 1, we have below normal temperatures over the Corn Belt. Week 2, that's that sinking south of the primary area of Arctic air. So week 2, this is January 26th through February 1st, unusually cold over almost the entire U.S. Corn Belt. Week 3, look at this. Here we go again. This is really a brutally cold period as we get into the early part of February 2nd through 8th. Look at this here, this area of blue over the whole Corn Belt. So we're looking at starting, even though this week's going to be cold, we're really going to get cold starting the 26th and going into February. And I hate to say it here, but look at this. This is right through February 15th, and we still see a lot of this blue. So it looks like really we're ushering in a prolonged period of Arctic air. And it looks like it's going to reinforce from time to time, and we're going to be getting down into the 10, 20, or even more than that degrees below normal as we get into the latter part of January into February. As far as precipitation goes, oranges are below normal. Again, week 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here's orange, below normal precipitation for the most part over the upper Midwest. Week 2, below normal. Week 3, more normal, sort of spotty one way or the other. Week 4, the same way, sort of spotty. So I think what these models are saying is that with that cold air, It's going to be very dry, and we can get some precipitation out of that, some light snow that'll accumulate, definitely in the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. But overall, I don't see these real heavy wet snows right into the middle part of February. It looks like a quieter pattern with the snow concentrated to where it has been and elsewhere, generally leading to the below normal precipitation. So the takeaway points, these prevailing winter trends look like they're going to persist right into February. It's been a hard winter in many areas. Polar vortex will sink south again and again as we get into the middle part of February. So I wish I had some better news if you're looking for some milder weather as we get into the right here into the core of winter. I don't see it, and I don't see signs of an early spring at this time. If you have any questions, I know I've heard from some of you. I'd love to hear from you. That's my email, john@bluewateroutlook.com. I have tons of information I plan on passing along to you. I think by now you know I really like talking about agricultural weather, so pass this along to your friends. They can sign up and get this information emailed right to them. Nice talking to you all this week. I'll be getting back in touch with you throughout this week via email and through my video briefing again next Sunday. Thank you.